Hey, in this video we'll learn how you can create a GitHub integration using a personal access token on Harness SEI. First of all, go to integrations under the data settings at the account level scope, and know that you should be an account admin or an SEI admin to configure and create integrations on Harness SEI. You can locate the GitHub integration style under the automated panel under available integrations tab. So go ahead and click on install. The first step would be to choose your GitHub account type. In case you're using GitHub Cloud, go ahead and select it to be GitHub Cloud. In case your GitHub account type is an enterprise server, so go ahead and select the enterprise server. For this demo, I'll go ahead and select GitHub Cloud. And now to configure the GitHub integrations, I have two different mode of authentication, that is either using the GitHub app or using a personal access token. Now, in case you want to configure this integration using the GitHub app, make sure to check out this video where we have covered how you can configure the GitHub app for your GitHub organization. In this video, we'll cover how you can do it using a personal access token. Now, let's give it a name. Let's call it GitHub demo using path. You can also add descriptions and tags. It is highly useful to make sure that you identify the right integration in case you have multiple GitHub integrations. Under the configure GitHub integration section, there are certain steps, and there's a backlink to a documentation for creating a personal access token, and also the scope and permissions that are needed for this token to work with this integration. So make sure to check that out. And then we have a field for the personal access token where I can quickly go ahead and paste the personal access token that I generated previously, and that should be it, right? Now, we also have a section to add more access tokens. Now, this is highly useful when you have a very large set of repositories in your GitHub organization and you're ingesting a large amount of data, let's say 10,000 repositories or 20,000 repositories, then it is highly recommended that you use multiple personal access tokens for multiple user accounts. So you can quickly go ahead and add on this plus new access token icon, and it will add more fields for you to populate them with the different personal access tokens, right? For this demo, I'll keep it to one path, and under the additional sections, you can specify the data that should be ingested as part of this integration. For example, in this case, we are fetching the data for pull request, issues, commits, and commit files. In case you also want to ingest data for projects, you can go ahead and check that box as well. And in case you don't want some of the sensitive data to be ingested into the system, you can uncheck the boxes. Click on validate connection. It'll take some time and run the pre-flight checks to check if the token has the right permissions. And once the authentication is successful and the pre-flight checks are passed, the integration will be created. As you can see, we have the integration created with an ID of 205. If I click on done, I can view the newly created integration using path under the your integrations tab. And on the monitoring tab, I can view that the status currently is warning, which means that no ingestion job has been scheduled for this integration yet. But once the ingestion jobs are scheduled, this status will change into schedule. And then once the ingestion jobs are successful, it will change it to healthy. Now, one quick thing to note here is that once this integration is created, you can still go ahead and update the configuration settings for it. For example, in case you still don't want to ingest all the repositories and you want to sort of restrict them to a certain level of repositories, you can go ahead and select those repositories from the list that is available here. And similarly, for additional options as well, in case you don't want some of the sensitive data to be ingested, or you want to update the ingestion settings in general, you can update it right here and then click on save, which will then automatically update the integration settings. And for the subsequent ingestion, the integration will only ingest data that was specified as part of the configuration. And that's it for this video. I hope you found this useful, and make sure to check out the documentation for step-by-step guide on how to configure the GitHub integration using a path token. And in case you have any queries, feel free to reach out to us on Harness support. Thank you, and I'll see you in the next video.